All right, so you guys just went out and you served, right? We're gonna be going through some things, gonna be debunking some myths. I saw a lot of servants on the serve. A lot of people who could be working at Pizza, okay? So let's start with the first issue that I saw. And it's a pretty simple fix that can make a big difference on your serve. Now, it's a common belief that we should be tossing way into the court. But what happens when we toss too far into the court is that the ball is no longer in our hitting zone and we end up hitting into the net. So you actually want to arc your toss and have it come towards you. If the ball was to bounce, it would actually land on the other side of you. So it's actually okay to toss behind your head, slightly. In fact, it might be a really good idea if you want to miss less serves in the net. Now, a lot of you started the serve with the movement of your hands, and this is the worst way to start. Okay, you're setting yourself up for failure, basically. So when we start the serve, we want to take the racket back with our shoulders. We actually want to delay any movement of the hands. Okay, we want to keep the hands in front of our body and on the outside of the body for as long as possible. Okay, we want this elbow up on the outside as well. So watch me. Okay, from the setup, it's a very simple movement. Okay, and we want to initiate the serve with a toss and a loading of the legs. Almost none of you were activating your legs at all, okay? Just to give you an idea of how to use your legs on the serve, you should be tossing and loading at the same time. You want to get into the serve power position. It looks like a letter Y, okay? I've got my shoulder over my shoulder, my hip over my hip, and it feels like I'm sitting in a chair with the legs. Now, a lot of you are not going to get in the serve power position because you make a very common mistake by dropping the non-hitting arm too early, and you're all collapsing into the shot. So something else that you can do is keep this arm up way longer. So when you serve, it should just stay up here. Okay, you don't want to collapse down into the serve. The swing starts from the ground up. Okay, the power on the serve, it starts with your legs. You want to feel like you're coming up like a spring. All right, I saw a few footwork mistakes as well. When we start the serve, we want the front toe lined up with the net post, okay? And we want this back foot lined up with the baseline. Now you can take it even more extreme, like I start like this, for example. The more sideways you get your feet, the easier it will be to turn and get more power, okay? It's pretty hard to get sideways if your feet are like this, okay? You're gonna be working pretty hard. It doesn't really make much sense. So the contact point at the serve. Some of you may have heard snap down with the wrist. There is no wrist snap on the serve. The wrist is along for the ride, and so is the arm. The swing starts with the body, and watch me. The arm comes through as the last part. You want to feel like you jump up with the legs and flip your shoulders. Okay, kind of like, think about it like a pitcher, right? If you watch baseball, maybe some of you are baseball fans, right? They load their legs, they coil the shoulders, and they throw everything, and the ball is the last part. Have you ever seen anyone, you know, NFL quarterback or a pitcher go like this? I don't think so, because then they would be on the bench, okay? So you want to have no tension in your arm, okay? So it really is like throwing a ball. That's how it should feel. And if you are going to jump on your serve, watch me, we want to land on the front leg, okay? Boom, every time. I saw a lot of you going slow, and it's very popular to go slow, especially on the second serve. But you will actually find that you make more serves if you just accelerate all the way through. So never slow down on the serve, especially if you're trying to hit a second serve or a kick serve, right? Maybe some of you are doing the top spin serve, if you know what that is, right? Adding kick to it. You almost want to go even faster on those second serves, all right? So don't get into the habit of just slowly trying to guide the ball in. It's better to just go for it, okay? So the toss, right? If you want to engage your legs into the serve, you got to toss much higher, okay? And you don't have to hit the toss at its highest point, right? If you watch pro-level tennis players, the toss is coming down sometimes 1 or 2 feet before it's hit. So there's no need to rush the motion trying to catch the ball before it drops, okay? Like trying to, catch it in time or else it's the end of the world. It's definitely not. Almost all of you went and you tossed like this, right? So you started the serve with a separation of the arms, taking the arm back by itself, and you just tossed straight up out in front. You want the toss to come, watch me, back, and if you can, you want to be letting go of the ball with your arm parallel to the baseline. Now that is pretty tricky, so some people will maybe just get it on a diagonal, but it's important that you don't start raising your arm until you've gotten to, I would say, about the inner thigh of your front leg. And the toss itself, there's a lot of debate of how to hold the ball. Some people hold it like this. I find that it's kind of inaccurate because it rolls off the fingers, so I just like to hold it almost with no tension in my fingertips. Kind of like I'm holding an egg, glass of water, very gentle. Now it's very important that you don't bend the arm too much while you're tossing. You want to feel like you're coming up from the shoulder and your arm should be like a lever. And when you toss, you don't want to stop the arm here. Okay, a lot of people go like that, and it's very inaccurate. Okay, it still looks good because I've done this literally a million times, but you want the arm to actually keep going up after you toss. If we're coming from here and our palm is down and we lead with the body and we drive, right, what we call the hammer, right? You want to feel like you're meeting the ball with flat strings, and then you keep going out and away from your body like you're checking the time on a watch, okay? So you want to keep going out and through. You don't just want to, boom, come out and pancake the ball. The pronation is not happening from the wrist. It's actually happening from the shoulder. So it needs to feel like your entire arm is rotating out like this, or it's moving like a log, all right? If you open a door, like look, put your arm out like this, pretend to open a door, that's what pronation feels like. So you can feel your whole arm engaged and the shoulder, right? It's not just twisting the wrist, that's gonna get you injured, and it's also gonna cause you to just scrape the ball, right? So the entire arm is moving as a unit if you want to pronate. So don't forget about that. Don't just try and do it with the hand. Last thing, super important, never squeeze the tennis racket, all right? It should be able to literally fly out of your hands. Like it's almost like a zero. It should feel like you're barely even gripping the racket. And that's going to be much easier to have a loose wrist, and when your arm is along for the ride, the racket will just come along much more naturally. So don't snap the wrist, don't squeeze the racket, don't try and flick the pronate. Use the bigger muscles on your serve, okay?
Biggest muscles we got in our legs.
Exactly. All the body weight is here, except a lot of you are what Some of you, your arm might weigh like 2 pounds if we put it on a scale, maybe 3. Your legs, okay, your trunk, it's making up like 90% of your weight. So let's get that through the shot before you use like your wrist, the tendons in your hand, okay? So yeah, thank you. Good stuff.
Awesome.
If you like what you learned here, I recommend checking out my online course. You can get it by clicking the link down below. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.